see if I can do the same with. Yeah. It's not ideal, unfortunately. I do use a virtual camera with OBS, but applications like this don't really support that.
Oh, you are running OBS and StreamYard at the same time?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to run OBS to just do half my screen, but I can't screen share from my virtual screen on OBS, which is what I usually do. So we'll see how we go with this. Yeah. Okay. Should we get started or wait a little bit?
Yeah, we need to wait for the countdown.
Okay.
Well, let me check. Is everything working? Okay, I think. Okay, I think we can start now. Hello everybody. Welcome to Friday night workshop, and I appreciate everyone like watching instead of go out and drinking today. Today we have today we have a special guest from the super team Indonesia, Bella Kosur. Is that how Bella Kosur?
Lacasol, yeah. My actual
Yeah.
name is Caleb.
Wait, what? I thought that was your actual name.
Yeah.
Okay. So please introduce a little bit about yourself and tell us like what is this like today workshop is gonna be about.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Caleb, also known as BLAC. I am the director and CEO of Obelisk Protocol. We're a new office here in Indonesia. We're primarily a dev shop with an in-house marketing suite, basically just building on Solana, whatever fun things we want to do. We have recently got a collaboration with Super Team Indonesia, and we have a Solana hub downstairs in the office. Basically, we are doing a super game jam with them now. We've got a couple teams coming in here every day and kind of just coding and learning how to code and learning how to do stuff, which is really cool. So yeah, on top of that, basically my personal endeavors. Over a year ago, I was primarily just a project manager, operations manager, and then Cursor came along, and I went all in on learning how to AI code. Since then, I've been doing that for about 11 months and sharpened my skills. I'm essentially a full stack AI developer. A lot of people do laugh or smile at that, but at the end of the day, AI is now competent enough to write any kind of code, as long as you have the patience to be able to bear with it and learn the architecture and the workflows as well. So essentially what I've been doing for the last, I would say 6 months, is sharpening my workflow. Prompts are expensive, and until we get a free LLM, which could happen in the next 12 months, until we get a free LLM, it is going to cost a lot of money to AI code. And it's not just for AI coders. I would say optimizing your workflow is important. Building out your design and architecture before you even start to code is really important as well. So essentially what I'm going to be going through today is just how I would plan for a new project, how I would design and architect that out, and what are some of the methods I use. Along with that, I will actually go ahead and build something out. So this is more of a live show. I'm going to build something. You're going to watch me build it, and I'm going to show you my workflow and how I've optimized it so much that I can essentially one prompt with AI and build out almost a full stack platform in just 1 or 2 prompts. So should I get stuck straight into it?
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
Okay, epic. So essentially, I think it's always a good idea if you're going to be working with AI a lot. You need to get an LLM that's going to have infinite memory, and you want to be talking to that LLM a lot, as much as possible. And when I say LLM, large language model like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, once you have that model, it's certainly worth subscribing to, but at the same time, there are free models that you can use as well. I prefer ChatGPT only because it was there from the beginning, and now that it has infinite memory, and it has probably the largest and fastest infinite memory, you can kind of learn, it can learn from you, and it can help you build based on your build style. So what I like to do is any ideas that I have, I put into ChatGPT. I'm not looking for feedback, I'm just storing it there. So I could easily go and say, this is my favorite thing to do. What is my best idea so far? And it's gonna tell me all of the ideas that I've had in the past and all the things we've spoken about. So having that infinite memory and maintaining that is pretty important, because you can always go back to it and reference all of that information. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to, basically being able to have that conversation with ChatGPT in designing your MVP of the architecture is really good. So I did have an idea earlier, and it just completely, my brain is just gone. Since it's the Solana Game Jam, let's try and architect out a game. So I only use code. I don't know any applications. I don't use Unity. I don't use Godot. I only build in Phaser at the moment because I am fast building. I don't really have the time to learn. So essentially, what we're going to do is have here ChatGPT architect the game out for us with Phaser. So I want to build a new game, just a simple quest game with 3 different scenes. The player will talk to multiple NPCs, etc. I want to build using Phaser 3 and Next.js. TypeScript, can you help me architect a simple design so I can use it as my framework when building. So it's essentially just going to start building that out. I did give it some specific instructions with Phaser 3 and Next.js and TypeScript. Ideally, that's all you want to be using, especially if you're going to be using Phaser. Yeah, that's the holy trinity, in my opinion. So yeah, it tells you why. Obviously, Next.js with the app router is OP. Inside the React components, Phaser's built-in scenes, tailwinds. Yeah. So essentially, it's going to give us a full folder. I mean, it's not always going to give you this. it will hallucinate. So in this case, it's given us a folder structure. Along with that, it's all right. So instead of actually giving us an architecture design, it's decided to just build it. So let's say make it more high level. I am just looking for a base framework for my requirements. So ideally, we just want a sheet. This is all great, but it's it's code examples, and that's not what we want. So we just want the requirements of exactly what we need in the game, and this is perfect. So essentially, what we're going to go do from here is we're going to take these. We're going to take this framework and we're going to put it into Cursor. So there's a lot of different IDEs that you can use. Personally, I use Cursor because I was very lucky early on and I managed to get a free subscription. But I've heard that Replit is another contender for that. Or you can just use your own IDE. I know that VSC has sorry. I know that VSC has extensions that you can use as well. So I'm just going to zoom in. So essentially, I've just made a random folder. That part isn't important. So what I've done is I've copied this. I'm not going to read it. I already know what I wanted. It's added some other stuff in there. It's kind of built the game out already with the NPCs, quests, dialogues, all that sort of stuff. So from here, this is just the base framework. And from here, we actually need to build this out even further. So you don't need to give too much context to your chat, especially using Cursor. It's going to be able to understand exactly what you're doing right away. The only thing we are going to do is, and this is why it's really important to optimize your workflow, is you want to design every aspect of your entire game before you execute on it. Essentially, you want to spend as much time designing and architecting what the code base will look like before you actually start writing any code. It means that you'll be able to execute a lot faster and you'll be able to reference those guides further down in the build. Especially building with AI, it does hallucinate quite often. It can add things in there, it can remove things. So having that plan and that guide, making sure it doesn't go too crazy is really important. So what I'm going to do now is I like to put my my architecture in a markdown file. So what I'm going to do is just create a new folder called arc, drag that in here. Please create a full architecture design of the below framework. I am looking to modularize these components and requirements as much as possible to create a Bible of my new game and a set of standards we must follow while building. So it's pretty basic. Like my prompts aren't crazy. I've obviously done this a lot. I kind of know what I need to say, but that just comes with practice. So we're just going to press enter on that. I say markdown. I didn't. Let's just stop. Write these as individual markdown files. So that's really important. So it's going to write a README, whatever. likely going to link to everything that we are essentially the pages building out. So you can see here, we've got a core framework, which is the project structure, technical stack. We'll be able to just go into it now. So we've got our technical stack, game configuration, we've got our player system, our NPC system, dialogue, quest, audio, asset. So this is all really important. I've built quite a few games this year now, and I can say that without proper planning and organization like this, any game can clearly easily get blown out. You can lose, you can kind of lose your grip on what the game actually is, and you adding features and all that sort of stuff. It gets really difficult because it doesn't have that framework and that understanding of how something should be implemented. And the last thing you want is like halfway through, you're like, oh, I really want to add this feature in, and you start adding it in, but because it's AI, it's going to think of the best implementation that it decided on in that moment. And it might not be the correct one, or it might not be the standard that you're using. So having this built out, being organized, is easily like your number one goal when starting any new project. And AI is really good for this, right? Because at the end of the day, it is going to grab all of the best techniques and all of the standards that you need to implement stuff like this. And to be fair, I don't really read all of it because I know it's grabbing the latest information. Sometimes I do get to a point where I'm like, oh, I probably should have done this differently, and I will refactor. And it does take time to do that. But honestly, it's worth it. You should be doing a code review. You should be refactoring as much as possible. Cleaning up your code base is so important, especially using AI and watching it as well, because it can build in different folders and essentially just completely break everything. So got to keep an eye on it. So it's going to take a while to build this out. We aren't going to go into actually building the project itself. The point is in this process of how important it is to get all of these files aligned, get your entire architecture written out and in place so that you can easily add to it later. Even if you don't use AI as your core coding stack, it's really good when you have this in place that you can go in and just say to Claude, which I use the most, I've added a new character sprite into my public folder. This is the name, this is the location. I need to add it to this map in this location, and it will literally just add it straight in there for you. It's really good at picking up animations, and it's able to add it in there easily because you have this guy. You can even say, I need to add these dialogue boxes with this content. They need to be able to say this and that, and it will pick up how it's meant to do the dialogues. It will then add that in there, and essentially you've saved yourself a couple hours with just a couple prompts, and at least like an hour to 3 days of properly architecting this out. I don't spend 3 days doing my design, but that's because I'm deep in the vibe coding and I just go straight for it. But if you're still kind of learning and getting into that groove, you should definitely take your time to learn what you're building, understand it, and continue building from there. While this is loading, I will stop it soon and we can move on. It's really, so personally, I love Phaser because Phaser is all code. There is an application for it, but Phaser is just great to vibe code in. You can build any games really, really quickly. I did a workshop last week where I essentially built an entire game in 1 hour. And yeah, so my personal favorite is Phaser, and looking for another stack that I can vibe code in. but I don't think I found one yet that's 100%. So it's even building a quest system, and you'll find as well with AI, it'll just make stuff up, which is fine. Like, especially for an example like this, we're going to have kind of everything built out and examples and a little bit of narrative along the way.
We got a question. What are your favorite tools to produce artwork for your game?
To do what, sorry?
Artwork, like
Artwork.
design, game access.
So I don't do any artwork. Do have a team with me. There's around 5 of us. I have 2 content creators, artist, videographer, and they kind of do the artwork for me. So together we're a team. I mainly do the mechanics and the code, and the rest of my team does the artwork. But retro diffusion is a good one. Sometimes I go there when I just need something really quick. And it will basically AI generate pixel art for you. And I live in the pixel art world. So I think you get 100 free credits. So it's worth checking out. Like, this is all AI generated, and it's really great for sprites to add in game. So how far along are we here? NPC system. See, the one thing it's not doing at the start is actual scene management, data, save, content management, coding standards. So because I know Phaser, I know it's important to have scene management, to have container management. It doesn't have that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is, great, can you prioritize these? And we'll just stop it. So I want to prioritize the actual building of the game. So essentially, once you have all of this, this is kind of like, you can be AI or traditional. I think this is like, regardless of whether you use AI to actually write your code, this is easily one of the best ways to build out this architecture and design. But the next part is definitely going to be more AI based on how you, I guess you could as a traditional dev do it as well. But essentially, there's these cool guys that created Taskmaster AI. So this NPM is mainly for using in VSC, but pardon me, the framework they've used for their tasks is really, really good, and I love it because it worked really well in Cursor. So what I would do, once I have all of my designs ready to go, I would essentially come to Taskmaster, copy the URL, come down to the chat and say, please study the framework used in, and paste the URL. I want to recreate this task system, but we don't need to use the NPM, nor do we need an LLM API, because I have essentially just copy the framework and build your own tasks based on Arc, and assist me in building out the MVP of our game. Really important to say MVP because it'll just build as much as it can and it'll write out all of those tasks. And yeah, don't ever go for the whole thing all at once. Do your MVP, get your base game going, have a look at it. Be like, what can we do next? And then work on features. One thing I will say, if you are building a game, sprites aren't important for your game building process. Sprites are important for the polish. So adding sprites in the game is a huge dopamine event when you're building your game out. And it's really, really rewarding because once the sprites are in there, you're suddenly looking at a masterpiece and you're proud of it. You're like, wow, this looks great. I built this. I'm so proud of myself. Like, save that dopamine event until the end. Because if you start adding sprites in while you're building, you're kind of like pushing all the hard stuff until last, and you don't want to do that. Doing all the hard stuff last is the worst thing you can do. It's going to stress you out. There's no dopamine involved in that. And you're going to kind of get to the end of it. You're either going to burn out or you're going to get it done and you're going to hate what you build and you're going to walk away. So my advice to you when building is focus on your MVP, polish your mechanics, focus on features if you have time to add them, and then polish the visuals, and then start making it beautiful.
One thing that I think I can add is that like when you're vibe coding, after like you got your idea and MVP ready, you gotta tell the AI to like check out the TypeScript best practice or like the Node.js best practice to like restructure it and make it like yeah, at least like from the security best practice, and it need to like under the review, but like not without breaking all the feature that you already like got in there.
Yeah.
So
And that's probably something to add to the architecture as well, is I only just thought of that now, is best practices for TypeScript, best practices for Next.js, API routing, all that sort of stuff. Because that's actually interesting. I was doing a project the other day and I didn't use the best practice API routing for Next.js, and it started building client-side APIs or database access, and it ruined. It took me 3 days to fix it. I should have just started again. So best practices with Next.js, use API routing. Unfortunately, the AI for some reason decided to use client side, and it was just a really, really bad time.
yeah,
So include
yeah,
as much best practices in your architecture.
yeah, and
Sorry.
there are also like I think the for styling there are also some stuff like Airbnb, styling like rule or syntax rule. So I think it's best that like you kind of have like a collection of your wiki, of your personal wiki, like what your favorite, like a styling or like even naming folder, like how you want to name it, how you want to name the function, and it's like for the long term, it's gonna benefit you a lot because like vibe coders are not gonna read like the clean code like or stuff like that. But it's actually very important if you want to like go a long way as a vibe coder. And now I think it's okay. Like, I think it's okay to use AI in vibe coding, but like you need to have like to understand like the requirement and all have a checkbox list of what you need, and then just
Mm.
take it out, and then improve your workflow. And I think just by improving that workflow, you can already monetize your flow. And right now, people are selling the prompt and like selling the workflow, something like that. And I think this workshop, like could be like chart on like a YouTube subscription or something like that. And then like we are keep like a celeb like, keeping it out for free for everyone. And so, yeah, thanks. Like it's definitely like a community like a project here. So, oh, So is there anything more you want to add, or like should we move to the quiz and the game?
I mainly just wanted to show, like, we won't go through the in all the tasks because it will take a while. But essentially, this taskmaster system is beautiful. So if you kind of follow this prompt, keep remaking the prompt until it does it right. It's slow to generate for whatever reason. But essentially, what will happen now is it will read taskmaster, understand the framework it needs to use to create your tasks, and then it will start to read your architecture and it will write tasks for every single thing it needs to do. So like this is the super hack, right? Because it will read everything it needs to create your MVP. It will build tasks for all of those. And then once those tasks are done, you essentially just tell it to execute. And it will basically do every single task one at a time until it's finished. And obviously there's problems and TypeScript errors you need to fix. But once you fix those, you'll have a working game or you have a working platform. The Taskmaster system with a proper architecture and design and AI is just perfect to get to your MVP within like a day sometimes. So it's building out all of these tasks. There's a lot of tasks, right? Because it wants to build this entire game perfectly. Phase 4 MVP finalization, and it's up to 30 tasks. So we're not going to let it build it all, but like as you can see, it's going to cover absolutely everything using that framework that we put in place. It's going to be able to execute on those tasks, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. You can literally sit there and watch anime while it's building out all of these tasks for you, which is what I do sometimes. But don't take your eyes off the ball too often because it can make mistakes and it can start building in random folders. You need to monitor it while it's doing the work. But for the most part, it's going to get it right. It's going to get your MVP there. Once you have your MVP, you do your polish. And if you want to add a feature, use the task system. Architect out the feature, what you want, have it review the project. This is the task I want to add. This is the feature I want to add, and then get it to use the same task system to build the tasks out for that feature and have it implemented. If you follow that workflow, you will be able to build anything you want. It'll take time, obviously, if you're still learning to code with AI, but if you know how to code with AI, a task system basically is like a cheat code sometimes. And also, it's really important, guys, like you need to stash, you need to commit to Git every time you hit a milestone. So MVP, feature, a bug fix, like you just need to commit, because if you let AI just run rampant, the IDE can crash. You might not be able to restore to where you were before. It may have changed an environment variable or your dependencies. You don't want it to be able to do something that is just like game breaking. So just make sure you're committing as often as possible. That way, if something is broken completely and you don't know how to fix it, you just put in git stash, you go back to where you were before. It's like saving in a game. Go back to your checkpoint and then continue on from there. Most of the time, once you've done something, you know how to do it again. So the prompt's easier and it's faster to get it done again. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, you can see these tasks are really thought out. It knows exactly what it needs to do. And, just let it go through that. And once the tasks are complete, make sure it's doing the MVP and then execute on it. And as you go through, you'll be able to, test the changes, and yeah, you'll have a playable game in a day easily, especially using Phaser. It's my favorite. Ipo, how long were we meant to be going for tonight?
We don't have the stop limit, so
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, in terms of optimizing your workflow, like this is the number one way to do it. Obviously, people have different methods, and some people say their methods are better. I don't know if mine's better than yours, but I would say that I can get any game MVP up in a day, filled with sprites as well, animations, all that sort of stuff, using this exact system. So, if you don't have a workflow, it's well within your interest to create a workflow um, and and stick to it. Like even just stop what you're doing, spend 2 days finding your best way to optimize your workflow, and then after those 2 days, you'll be at least like 50% faster than what you were before. And then I can just say execute. So it's creating the Next.js app. Proceed. And so it's just going to start. Obviously, it's just building out the stack that we need to build the game. But I think that's most of it. Is there anything that you do, Ipo, when you're coding that would differ from this a little bit?
I think at least for me, I think at least for me, I usually have like a preset of like what library I'm gonna use. So I'm still like follow the old school like the standard. Like usually when you get into a company and there was like a wiki or like some kind of guidance on how you should do the code. And for me, I follow the same like kind of step, like standardized, like only use this kind of library, only use this kind of best practice, and like find me the solution for this function. So I prefer like go into like a functional programming and like when the code base are too big for the AI to manage, and I just like kind of like divide and conquer. And the idea is just so it's more like experience. It's not really like a workflow. That's for
It's
I don't
like
think it's a workflow
good
for
habits.
beginner. Yeah. So yeah. So So it's definitely not like it's. I don't create like a checkbox for AI to write it. I haven't done it yet, but maybe I should because now I think like after yesterday, the civic team they also share like some like vibe coding styling and prompting. So yeah, but so far the code base is still very small. I would say it's still like still in the like range of AI, but like if it got super huge, like with like team of 5 people on like if it got bigger then you know so so right now I'm just still like experience like everyone else. So that's all I can say. I think.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, I've built some fairly large applications now. This is a game I'm currently building, and it's fairly big at the moment, but I'm loving it. I found uh, a new database today. It's called Spacetime DB, and I'm telling you, like, I'm almost about to implement multiplayer, but it's just like on another level. So in I think 3 hours, I'm about to have multiplayer in my game, and it's
Oh,
just
that's
running from
cool.
a Rust database.
What is the database called?
Spacetime DB.
Spacetime DB.
It's made by Bitcraft. Bitcraft is an MMO. So essentially, Bitcraft created Spacetime to run its MMO because it's a massive world where all players are in the same world at the same time. Um, and they just smashed their raise, and then they realized like, oh wow, we actually made a really good backend database that can manage our game, and so they've turned it into a SaaS, and they actually open sourced it as well, which
Oh,
is really cool. So you
what's
can
the
run it by
pricing?
yourself. Right now, really cheap. So
Oh,
you can pay as you go. So they've got a 90% off on their energy until they've got uh, like 2.5 billion energy sold. And so energy is just like the database calls, but you get 25,000 for $1, or 100 USD, and you get like 3 million. So I think it's around like 25. Like when I was creating, actually, I don't even know because I created multiple accounts, but I've only been charged one at one time with the energy. So um, I think it's so scalable, and this is if you use main cloud. So that's their hosting. If you don't use it, you can just run your local database yourself. And depending on how big your product is, and how experienced you are, you can probably just run your own. But I just went with main cloud because I'm on a deadline. So I paid $1 just for testing. I'm probably going to upgrade to $100 because these credits are forever. They don't expire. Um, and so once it's sold out, it's never going to be that price again. But yeah, that's just something I learned like only a few hours ago. I've implemented it. I've got my player database set up, and I'm like this close to getting my multiplayer done. And it's like
oh,
simple in my phaser game as well. It's so crazy.
no, that's really cool. I think that's like really cool stuff you're sharing. Like that's the alpha. That's some alpha you're sharing.
Yeah, this is like a random demo I just made, and these are mock multiplayers, but the multiplayer is running on the server. So in local, it works completely fine, but not in production. So I need to figure that out. But yeah, it technically does work because these two players are on the server. They're not just imported onto the map. They're coming from the space-time database. Yeah, so definitely get amongst that. Have a look. Like, don't get distracted. If you're building a game right now and you have a plan and you have a strategy, like stick to it because like this is a side quest. If you can't do it in like 5 hours, then just drop it and go back to what you're doing before. Just because it's cool doesn't mean you should completely change your workflow. Um, but yeah, absolutely check it out. If you are doing multiplayer, then 100% you should probably convert to using it. Okay, well, I mean, I probably don't have anything more to give out and share. You guys have seen my optimized workflow. It can definitely go deeper. The only other advice I give you is refactor, code review as often as you can. Like, even if it's just like an hour a day of focusing on one particular component or, your scenes or your mechanics, just make sure you do a code review, clean up your database, clean up your code base, and make sure you're working with a nice clean code base, especially when you start in the morning. You want to sit down and know that you're looking at something beautiful, not just a sloppy mess of code. So that's my only advice to you guys, especially if you vibe code.
Yeah, like tell the AI to read the Uncle Bob clean code book and then follow the standard. Yeah. So anyway, so now it's the time for game. So B, can you change the screen? It's quiz time. Yes. So funny story. We have a girl like she's only 18 and she's like a design artist. She don't know anything about. I don't know if she know a lot about coding, but like she keep winning like 4 times in a row, and now everybody is like scared of her.
Taking notes. That's perfect.
Well, if John, if you want to win, then you better ask Sayu how like she use AI, or just like ask her. And okay, should we start? I think that's enough. Anyone else want to join? Just let me know in the comment. I think we can start, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe Sayu is the AI. You never know, right?
I'm only now just reading the chat.
Can you read the chat in Discord? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I didn't have it open before.
Okay, okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Everyone has answered. Oof, oof, rough.
Okay, it's time to see the winner. Sayu again.
Oh.
And she's a digital artist. She's like, and she won the competition for the vibe coding. So
Nice.
John is close.
Congrats, Shayu. Again.
Yeah, congratulations, Sayu. She won again. Okay, thank you everyone for joining in. Uh, yeah, and of course, like, yeah, she's hold like the longest streak record here.
Wow. 4 wins
You
in a
you
row.
got yeah. So I mean, we will see tomorrow if she can win again. So we will have like a workshop and game tomorrow as well. And yeah, and I guess like I will see everyone tomorrow. And thank you, Sarah, for joining in.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And thanks, guys, for listening. Hopefully, you get some, helpful stuff from this. So take care. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.